evening, whenever you're tuning in. Welcome to the new YouTube channel. This is day 50, milestone day 50. Today's the 20th of October, and we're covering the events that happened on 19 October 2022. So I've been doing this for 50 straight days. I think there was one day that I had a hiccup where I didn't do it, but I've been very consistent, and that's the whole point of this exercise, is to be consistent and do this every day. Even if it sucks, I'm doing it every single day, and I believe I will get better by doing it every single day. And it's a good way to have a journal and also look back in the future and see how from the future and see how I started this process. So maybe somebody would find some help with this at some point. I'm sure they will. So my day yesterday started with emails. Then I got on the treadmill. I was able to do 45 minutes of slow walking with a 4-minute jog. And, I'm still doing good on my diet, and, using the Loseit app. Put that in the notes to put that in the description. I'll have links in the description. I'm trying to do that. Like, comment, subscribe. If you have a question about something that I referenced and you want a link to something that if I didn't include it already, let me know. So doing good on the diet. I'm losing some weight. It's a slow process, but I don't want to go too fast. I don't want to hurt myself. I have other things going on besides the dieting and exercise. So, did good yesterday, and then after that I had took Becky to school. So took Becky to school. I didn't put that in my notes. I'm also doing a journal on Evernote. So Evernote's I've been using Evernote for years, and it's been an indispensable tool. So in addition to the video, I have a daily log on Evernote that I'm keeping now. And then I also send all my important emails that I'm going to keep forever. I send it to Evernote, and they have as long as you're a member, they have a certain limit every year to how much you can send them. You never exceed it. But as you've been a member for years and years, that they don't get rid of anything. So I have tons of information, and I can with a couple clicks I can go back. It even scans of PDFs. So if there was something in an old PDF that I was looking for, I can go to Evernote and it would pull it right up. So I think that's really cool. So I use Evernote all the time for keeping important documents and scanning things, even sentimental things. I'm committed to getting rid of clutter and paperwork that I don't need, that I don't put my hands on every day, that doesn't require me to retain it. If I have it on Evernote, it's just as accessible. So if I get a birthday card, what I'm doing now, things like that, holiday cards, I scan them, and then I recycle the physical version, but I have the scan forever, so I can go back and look at them from the future and appreciate the person who actually wrote it or sent it to me, just as an example of how I use Evernote. So I took Becky to school, and then I had a meeting. I went to my office for this meeting, and in downtown Claremont, because it's not located near my home. It's about 20 minutes away. It is near my home, but it's not at my home. So went to my office, had this meeting online for getting ready for preparations for the ACA. That's helping people with the under 65 health place marketplace, sometimes referred to as Obamacare. It's very interesting. I'm doing all these things lately, and maybe I'm just the wrong way driver. I'm a very conservative person, but I'm participating in Obamacare. I'm doing solar. So I was in the State Department, so whatever, it is what it is. So people need to have some kind of health insurance, and I provide that health insurance. So I'm licensed to do it, so and I get paid to do it. So politics aside, I do what's in the best interest of my family and myself first, and that's what I would encourage anyone and everyone to do. I mean, maybe it's we don't like government spending, but if they happen to spend money and it's benefiting us, then I don't make the rules. It's like that, it's just like what Donald Trump said. You know, he was having a debate with Hillary Clinton back in 2016 when he was running for office, and Hillary Clinton was saying like, well, you know, a lot of the companies that Donald Trump had went bankrupt, and Donald Trump's response to that I thought was brilliant. You know, I thought it was brilliant. He's like, hey, look, I just used the laws to legally get, you know, take myself. That was my job. I mean, I was a businessman, and I used the laws to my advantage, right? It's not illegal. I use the laws to my advantage. You know, people form corporations, and corporations fail, they go bankrupt, and then somebody the next day opens up another corporation. That's totally legal, at least as far as I know. Not legal advice, but I'm just saying. I mean, you know, I don't make the rules. Like the thing with another moment with that is like other people's money. Like that. Other People's Money is a movie with Danny DeVito, and Danny DeVito is this like Wall Street tycoon, and he's trying to take over this, liquidate this. He's Larry the Liquidator, and he's trying to liquidate this company in Pennsylvania that's been in business for 100 years, and there's like a whole town, you know, associated with this particular plant and everything, and the daughter of the owner or the majority shareholder who's trying to save his company is a lawyer, and she goes and she's like, one of these days they're going to pass a law and they're going to outlaw people like you. And Danny DeVito says, hey, you know, they can only change the rules. You know, the game stays the same, but the rules may change. He's like, I live in court. I adapt to the rules, you know, and that's true. You know, that's what we all have to do. You know, we can't like get upset about these things. This is a good reminder for me. It's like I can't get upset about the rules. The rules are the rules, right? If you're able to adjust, um, you and you know you can still support your causes. I'll talk about that in a moment. You can still support your causes, but um, the rules are the rules, and if you can adjust, well, sometimes you need to adjust, but if you can adjust and make the system work in your advantage, then you're going to come out ahead. Because things like that happen. You know, things change, and you know, people come up with some crazy ideas. Like, why are we doing this? But it is what it is. So I'll talk about that. I actually want to circle back to that in a minute. So after my meeting, I did more walking. I went for a little bit of a walk. Part of the training for the Remote Wellness Academy is that I should try to get out of the house during daylight hours to soak in a little sunshine. It would help with sleep. So I did some more walking. Then I went to the gym and just did the chair exercise. And then I went and returned an item real quick at a store. I came back. I finished the Remote Wellness Academy. Um, it was Module 3, Training 14. This particular video took 3 days to watch because it was a 3-hour and 20-minute video. So, you know, I was doing like an hour a day watching this video, but I finally completed it, and I responded to some of the posts that I required to respond to, and hopefully I'll move on to the next training session. And I do need to circle back with a couple other exercises from previous trainings. One of them was counting my steps. My Fitbit just died, so I had an old version, a real old version of a Fitbit, like the first generation. I need to get a new Fitbit, break down and get a new Fitbit. So, but yeah, that was the story with that. Then I watched a video on Hex. Hex is a crypto coin. I think that I'll put a link to this interview I watched on YouTube. The creator of this is a pretty smart guy. He's kind of, well, he's not kind of. He really is. You know, like I'm better than you. I'm better than everybody. You know, he's kind of like that. I don't know what the word. I can't think of the word right now. It's early in the morning, but you know, he's very altruistic. You know, but he's smart. He's a very smart person. But he's also very rich. He owns the world's largest diamond. Um, you know, um, and he's got a vision for doing this. I don't know much about cryptocurrency. I found out about Hex from one of my Facebook friends who wrote a book on Hex. It's not the it's not the creator of Hex, but it is someone who is a big believer in Hex. So I am putting a little bit of money into Hex. And the way Hex works is you stake some money. It's like, you put money in there and you lock it up. You can release that money, by paying a penalty. So you only want to release it if it's an emergency. But you say, okay, I'll lock it up for 90 days. I'm going to get this amount of interest on it. I'm going to get this amount of return on it. So I have like a little bit of a plan where I'm putting a very small portion of the money that I'm making into Hex. And some of the returns that people are saying that they have gotten in the past from Hex have been astronomical. It's unbelievable. So it's a little bit of a hedge, you know. Right now the world is still a very uncertain place. The war between Russia and Ukraine can go south really fast. We're also teetering on a world-wide recession. Food shortages, another pandemic. I mean, all kinds of crazy stuff that's possible, next couple of years. So just got to have a plan B for everything. So Hex is definitely a plan B. It may all fall apart. All I know, dear listener, when it comes to crypto is this: I was back in, I would say, um, 20 2003, 2004 time frame. I bought a course on digital trading. It was a digital trading exchange course, um, and it was trading like these digital currencies, like e-gold and PayPal and other kinds of digital currencies. And there was a platform that was called DX Gold. And it worked sort of at first. It had marginal success at first, but then it's just it just came to like a stutter and just petered out. It didn't really work. I think that was the precursor for Bitcoin, right? Because after I tried a little bit of that in 2003, um, and it didn't really work. It worked a little bit and then it stopped. If I would have kept going and then got into Bitcoin, and I think that Bitcoin, a lot of those people who are trading DX Gold made their way into Bitcoin. If I would have gotten into Bitcoin when Bitcoin first got out, bought some of Bitcoin, I would be rich beyond beyond comprehension. I'd be living probably in Dubai. I'd be like one of those anonymous millionaires, maybe even a billionaire. That was my brush with success. Is that DX Gold didn't work, and I just said, no, the hell with it. It's probably all a Ponzi scam. I question the legality of it all. I don't want to go any further with that. That was kind of a mistake. I should have pursued, just kept on going. If I would have went a little further and stumbled my way into Bitcoin, I would be wealthy. That's what I'm saying. Because that DX Gold, basically had the same premise. It wasn't a blockchain, and it wasn't the kind of technology that that Bitcoin. I think it was a precursor. These people were like, okay, we want to trade something. We want to trade a digital currency. So Bitcoin is a digital thing. It's comprised over the internet. So they had the right idea, but blockchain and all that, they didn't have that. And that's what made Bitcoin so popular. So yeah, I lost my chance to become a millionaire, if not a billionaire. No shit. So I don't, Hex, maybe Hex doesn't work. I'm not going to put everything I have into it. I'm only going to put like a little, it's like buying a lottery ticket. I think it's better than buying a lottery ticket. It's like, okay, whatever, I'll put a little thing in about Hex. I have nothing to gain. If you it's not financial advice. It's like, only put whatever you can afford to lose uh, in in there. It is what it is. So, and I need to put like a little disclaimer. Make sure to note to myself, disclaimer: none of this. None of this is financial advice. You may lose everything that you put into Hex or any other crypto. Only put in what you can afford to lose. Only put in what you would afford to, like, instead of buying the Mega Millions when you only have like a 1 in 700 million, whatever the odds are, chance of winning. I think you might have a little bit better with crypto, but maybe not by a whole bunch more. But you know, once in a while, if you do a million things, I think then a million different things, you're going to hit a jackpot eventually. That's just my positive thinking. So I watched the video on Hex. Watched this guy. I'll link to the video. It was a good video. He talked about the hater. There's a lot of people who hate on him and everything like that, and a lot of naysayers. But guy is what he is. I mean, and the author of the book. To put the author of the book. The author of the book thinks very highly of it. So, he wrote a good book. I actually thought that book was pretty well written. So it's in support of, support of Hex. So it's worth, in my opinion, I take a small chance and put a little tiny bit in there. But trust me, I've squandered money in so many ways in other failed business ventures. I mean, you know, um, I don't think that I would lose everything, in Hex, but who knows? I'm willing to take that chance. So then I did a little bit of item repricing on Amazon, and then I got on a call with my sponsor, person who introduced me to Power, P-O-W-U-R, and we talked about me getting solar panels for myself. I was approved. I did a credit application. I was approved for solar, so I would save substantially on my electric bill. I did opt for solar batteries, which are considered a luxury. Think of a generator so that if my power went out, all my electric would still be able to run, including the air conditioning. So my bill basically is unchanged. It's going to be about the same. And it's a 25-year loan, keeping my electric bill the same. So instead of paying my electric, whatever I was paying for electric, I'm going to be paying the loan company that's giving me the solar panels. So, and there's a government tax credit, and the energy costs are in today's dollars. Now, those panels last a long time. They can last 30, 40 years, and there's a 30-year warranty on the panels, on the solar panels. So I think I'm almost quite certain that whatever I'm paying today for energy, it's definitely going to be more expensive, 10, 15, 20 years from now. So I'm locking in today's prices for energy. So although I want those batteries, I would save a lot more without the batteries. The batteries are considered a luxury item, but I want the batteries because they operate as a generator. We talk about off the grid living and all that. The UK right now is having a terrible energy crisis going on. They don't know what to do. They're in a lot of trouble. All of Europe is in a lot of trouble. There's a winter coming. They don't have enough energy. They really did it to themselves. So I'm involved with solar, and I want to help families reduce their energy bills and make good decisions. I also used to live in Saudi Arabia. I was stationed in Dhahran, which is the eastern province of Saudi Arabia. It's right. We have that specifically because that's right there at Saudi Aramco. All the oil in Saudi Arabia is in the eastern province, and that they have literally an ocean of oil underneath their feet. It's amazing. And the largest energy company in the world, Saudi Aramco, is located in the eastern province in Saudi Arabia. So we have a consulate there, and that's where I was stationed. I was the um, executive assistant, office manager to the consul general. So yeah, you go over and you see how countries in the Middle East live. Been to Bahrain, been to Saudi Arabia, been to Dubai, and these countries, it's just fabulous. They're fabulously wealthy. The citizens have everything that they need. You know, gas. They raised it. It was when I first got to Saudi Arabia. It was 25 cents a gallon, and there was much of the populace was upset because they doubled the price to 50 cents when I was there. So it was like 50 cents a gallon. I think it's still 50 cents a gallon for gas in Saudi Arabia. I mean, literally pocket change to fill up my. I had a Ford Escape, and literally pocket change to fill up my Ford Escape. I could drive all over the place, and if I only had a few dollars worth of, it didn't matter. It literally cost nothing to fill up my gas tank. It was but the infrastructure, the things that people had, um, you know, there's a lot of people that would come into places like Saudi and Dubai and Bahrain from other countries. They don't have a right to be there. They enjoy the fact that they have a good job, and they have usually the Saudis would have people from Bangladesh and India and the Philippines come and do the work. A lot of the manual labor and stuff like that. That's all good. It's all good and it's good for the people coming over because in their own countries they wouldn't have this opportunity. They're making a lot more. You might think that they're being mistreated. They're not. They're making a lot more, and they're able to send that money back to their families back wherever they come from because they're coming from impoverished countries, so they're living better than what they would have. Um, I'm saying all this back to my original point is that we could have the same thing. We have as much oil in the United States. Now, granted, it's not as easy to get to as the oil in Saudi. Saudi is basically sand, and all they need to do, it's like the best oil in the world. They just simply put a simple drill into the ground, and they're able to extract it, and the oil is really the best type of oil that doesn't require a whole lot of refining. One of the things I had to sit through, I had to go to a dinner for the Council General, and I took notes and I was sitting right up front with everybody at my round table. It was a PhD, and this guest speaker was the president of Halliburton. Really just incredible. I learned a little bit while I was there. But what I learned is that we have, in the U.S., we have lots and lots of oil, right? And you can get it with a process through fracking. I mean, so it's not as easy to get to. There's more rocks to go through. And then when you do get the oil out, the oil is not as good quality as the oil in Saudi Arabia. The oil that requires a lot more refining. The oil you pull out of the ground in the U.S. Requires a lot more refining. It requires fracking. Extracting the oil and all that. And it can be damaging to the environment, but the environment's being damaged, whether it's if they're drilling in Russia, if they're drilling in Iran, if they're drilling in Venezuela, if they're drilling in China. They're drilling in these different places, and they have these coal plants and all that. Wherever it's taking place, it's hurting the environment. And I agree that we should be weaning off, and we should be going and looking at things like solar and electric cars and all that, but we're not ready. You can't, it's like trying to go on a diet, like I am, and starve, and we're going to stop eating, because we need to lose weight. You can't do that. You got to have a gradual, run up to that. What really pisses me off personally is that I have personally seen with my own eyes, countries living extravagantly. And people in the U.S., we have homelessness. We have people who are hurting. You know, people who can't afford to pay their electric bills. People who can't put decent clothes on their kids. People who are really struggling. Like, why is it necessary that Americans, with all this fucking oil, I'm sorry to say it, with all this oil and natural gas and all these these fossil fuels, why are we the ones that have to like, let's go green? No, drill, drill, drill. Get that to the, so like a country like Dubai now, and Dubai is not a country. Dubai is in the United Arab Emirates, but Dubai is a big example. What Dubai did is they had a lot of oil, and they reinvested the oil into other activities, into tourism and infrastructure. And now Dubai is a place of business, and only about 5% of the revenue comes from um, oil. The rest is generated through business, through tourism, through business, expats and companies and all that. They don't have any they don't charge any taxes. They have no income tax in Dubai. If you make $1 million in Dubai, you keep $1 million, right? I think that the way they generate some of their income is through, they do have like a VAT tax or something like that. But if you make $1 million, if your company makes $1 million, your company gets to keep $1 million. It's an excellent place to do business. It's a very interesting place to do business. And the thought is like, okay, maybe we can't do everything like the United Arab Emirates, but we could get a lot of that oil. That would solve a lot of our problems. We could redivert a lot of this money. We have $30 trillion in debt right now, with no plan to be able to pay it back. And the only reason that we're able to get away with doing that is that the U.S. dollar is a reserve currency, and that may not always hold out to be true. Eventually, that's going to stop one day. One day, it's all going to come tumbling down, and it's going to be a world of hurt. And you know what? There's going to be people like myself that's going to be like, you know what? It was totally unnecessary. We had so much oil. God gave us so much oil and natural gas and coal. We're the leader in that. We're the leader in food. We're the leader in natural resources. We have more oil in the United States. We should be a member of OPEC. We've got so much oil. But our leaders are convinced about this climate change and all that. Is it true? Maybe. But is China doing anything about it? Is Russia doing anything about it? Is India doing anything about it? Is Venezuela doing anything about it? What about Norway and Sweden? What do you think? How do you think that they're able to keep all that socialism? Norway provides everything. They take care of people cradle to grave, but they're able to do it because they have natural resources, and they extract those natural resources. And nobody will listen to what I have to say, but I lived through it. I've seen it with my own eyes, and I just say, hey, go get those resources. So back to solar. At the end of the day, it's a good situation because they're making the cost of energy so expensive. And right now in Europe, it's if you're in Europe, you're in a lot of trouble. You can't even heat your home. That's no. I'm going to make decisions that's best for my family. And at the end of the day, the government's helping me pay for the solar system. They give you a 30% tax credit for buying a solar system. So 30% of the systems can be given back to you as a tax credit on your taxes if you're paying taxes. And then you're locking in the prices there. There is a lot of free energy from the sun. I didn't create this system, but it's a system that's going to give you some independence from the grid, because the energy company can charge you whatever the energy company says. And basically, there's some nuanced differences. No, they can and they can't. They can't gouge you, but as things go up, energy prices are going to go up. And when it comes to people with solar, more and more people are getting solar. So the people who don't have solar are going to pay more for energy because the energy companies are not going to lose out. So I'm glad that I'm in solar. We're getting a solar system for our house. I talked to my wife about it yesterday. She's on board with it. Got approved, so I'm really excited about that. And I was on that call, and that call lasted, and then after that I went to bed. So that's it. Um, if you're interested in joining me, either as a customer for solar, um, so you can do it. You can do this two ways with Power, POWUR. Please make sure you reach out to me if you're interested in this. You can do this two ways. You can either one be a customer, right? And if you happen to refer some people once you're a customer, or even before, even if you don't become a customer, if you happen to refer some people, you can join what's called the Ambassador Program, and it's like $1,000 commission um, to become, every person who signs up for a solar system, you get about $1,000 commission. I wouldn't even call it commission. I'd say just a referral fee or something like that. So, if you weren't interested in doing the business, but you happen to know a couple of people, you'll be compensated for telling some people about it. Like if you start getting panels up on your house, your nosy neighbors are going to be like, "Hey, well, what's going on?" And they're going to want one too. If you're interested in the business side of solar, there's a business plan, and you can make a very decent commission being a solar consultant. That's more of a commitment in time, and there is a monthly cost of about $100, and then we're on teams and we're working. So if you're interested in the career slash business opportunity, then join as a solar consultant. If you're just interested in getting the panels and you happen to want to refer a couple of people, then you might want to just be a customer and then become one of the ambassadors, because that's free. So anyway, like, comment, subscribe. If you have any questions, let me know, and thanks for watching.